Hello, this is Angelus. I'm your mindset coach and trainer. I work with business professionals, all successful. Main reason they come to me is that they are lacking somewhere in their lifestyle and they want to upgrade, improve, bring more efficiency in. It's not just to make more money. They are already making good money. They already have a successful business, but they're just not happy with it. So we have to get to the bottom line of what kind of mindset is keeping them from their happiness. And lately, my clients have been coming to me and almost asking the same question. And the question is, how do you know when your unconscious mind is talking and when your conscious mind is talking? And what does the ego have to do with any of this? And I would say, that's a beautiful question. It's a perfect question. And now I'm going to share this with you so you can perhaps utilize this in your own life. And I'll also give you a little exercise that you can take with you and try to immediately practice during this day. So before I can tell you more specifically about one and the other, how they affect, let me just say, some people are under the impression that the unconscious mind and or the ego, and a few, believe it or not, their conscious self is self-sabotaging, is destructive, negative, maybe even evil. They feel that it's not working for their better interest. That's as far from the truth as you can get. It's not true. You were given an ego for a reason. You were given, of course, consciousness so you can live. It's not self-sabotaging. And the unconscious mind is not designed for self-sabotage. It's designed for one thing, just like the ego is designed. And the consciousness, to help you to live, to help you to survive, to help you to do well, to be happy. And again, many of my clients come to me because they're not happy. The problem is there's an imbalance between the relationship of all three. That's all. It's just a simple way of changing your mindset, retraining your brain to think and observe something that it's not aligned with right now. So how do you do that? Well, let's first explain what the ego is all about. The ego is very simple. It's there if it's balanced, meaning if you have a good self-esteem level, if you have a good self-worth, you got a good belief in yourself, you trust yourself, you believe in a purpose for yourself, then you're going to have a good ego. You're going to have a balanced ego. And the ego will then just communicate to the world out what you're communicating inside. I am worthy. I have purpose. Respect me. Get along with me. And I will do the same for you because I'm important. That's what the ego was invented for. That's the only reason why you have an ego. Now, if you're out of whack with the ego, many people already know what the consequences is. But that's what the ego is for. Your conscious self, again, it's to survive and enjoy life, period. No, we don't have to go much into that. The unconscious mind, think of it as a program of the past. And it's in constant loop, just playing over and over and over. And you created this through your education, your experiences, your feelings and beliefs in the past. So this is actually a program you created in the past that's playing in the now. Endless loop, even when you're asleep. Now, that's not a wrong thing because obviously you spent a good time, years if not decades, creating this program. So if you created this program, it's serving a purpose. Then why is it not serving you now? Why is it, you, as the words they use, self-sabotaging? Why is it talking negative to me? That's only because you changed something in your life. You've created a program. Let's pretend let's think of it as a computer. Use the analogy of a computer. If you put a certain app on your computer, a certain software, operating system, and it's working well for a while, which that's what all apps and software is for. But at some point in the future, it can't handle the way you're trying to use the laptop or the PC. So you have to update the app or the software so it can now adjust to the way you're using the hardware. If you do not upgrade, train the program, to do something differently, to be aligned with your new direction of how you're using the tool, obviously it's not going to work. Obviously you're going to run into trouble. Obviously you're going to get upset with the computer. But it's not self-sabotaging. It's not working against you. It just needs to be upgraded. You need to train the computer. Our brains are no different. Our brains are supercomputers and need to be trained as well as you change in your life. When you don't change, nothing happens. If you change something in your life, that's when you notice your unconscious self taking more control or trying to dominate. So that's all three. They all work simply. They all work in unison and align with each other. You have an individual that is unstoppable in social lifestyle or their business, unstoppable. The problem is you change, you're not updating the software, the unconscious mind, and it starts really treating you badly. So how do you know when you're not aligned with the unconscious mind? Never mind the ego for now, that'll be another video. But how do you know you're not aligned with the unconscious mind? Well, I'm going to give you an exercise. I want you to try this. Go through the day and put yourself in your mind for the first time, perhaps. I mean, really be present to your mind chatter. I mean, I'm going to tell you the sciences. The sciences say, this has been validated and proven a fact, that 5% of all the thoughts in your head, which can be anywhere between 80 to 90,000 thoughts a day when you're awake, 5% of those is consciously directed. So you are actually, through your desires, wants, and needs, making the choices in those, but 5%. So you got 95% of these thousands of thoughts going through your head. They're not even yours. Where are they coming from? Where are these 80 to 90,000 thoughts that are not yours coming from? From the machine, the unconscious self. So you need to go through the day and raise that number from 5% to 10, 15, 20, as much as you can. You don't have to do it 100% because the unconscious mind has a purpose and you don't need to take control of it. No more than you need to take control of how your cells heal. It knows how to heal. You cut yourself and the cells go immediately into fixing itself. Your heart beats without your conscious needs. It's unconscious thought that's controlling your heart and the healing process and all that. So you don't want 100% control of the unconscious mind, but you want more conscious control and observation of what's coming through. Now, this is what I want you to pay attention when you're consciously aware and listening to the mind chatter. It's the machine talking, not you, not your ego. It's the machine talking when you hear it complaining, when you hear it explaining, when you hear it attempting to justify. It will even use lies, falsehoods, non-facts to do so. It'll use the ego if it's weak enough and unbalanced enough to justify itself through its complaining and explaining. You see, if you're a balanced individual and you have a good ego, you don't have to complain. You can bring attention to issues and problems to people, but that's not complaining. If you're a balanced individual, you don't need to explain. You can educate, which is two different things. People don't realize that. To explain is not the same as educate. Educating, you're showing somebody a skill set, a way of doing something. Explaining is attempting to be right. Explaining is a way of the conscious mind pushing its authority on you. So do what I say, not what I do. That's the difference. And then, of course, if you're well balanced, you don't need to justify anything. You can make suggestions, but that's about it. You don't need to justify anything. So as you're going through, this is your homework, as you're going through your day, be consciously aware as you're talking to your friends, your family, your spouse, your co-workers, your colleagues, your laborers and employees, whoever, your vendors. As you're going through the day, be consciously aware when you're starting to show symptoms of complaining, symptoms of explaining or justification, because that is how the mind works. The mind uses that as those three as tools, sometimes with the ego, to get what it was programmed to do. So remember this, it's always explaining, it's always complaining, and it's always justifying. That's what the machine does. Even when you're asleep, that's what it does. If you can start to realize and be conscious of this, then what you do with the second part of the homework is, after you made a list, I even suggest write it down. How many times did you complain today? How many times did you explain today? How many times you had to justify things today? And go through a week and add it all up. Then the next week you want to go back and start all new. Say you start on Monday, doesn't matter when, but let's just say arbitrarily, you start on Monday. The next Monday you go back and try and do your very best to reduce these times that you catch yourself explaining, justifying, and complaining. Say you complain, explain, justify 10 times each in each group, 10 times a day. It's 30 times you're in your unconscious self. You're on autopilot. You're not present. You're not in control of the car. Well, try to reduce it to 25. I don't care in what order, a couple here, a couple there, but try to reduce it to 20. And if you do this, every week going forwards, at some point, you train your brain. These won't be in control. Your unconscious mind won't use this. By the way, how do I train it? You explain to me what it is and how it's working through me, but how do I, train it? Well, when you reduce it, anytime, here's one example, no, 3 examples. I'm complaining. I caught myself complaining. I'm like, okay, do I need to complain? No. Complaining is, really what I want to do is bring attention to an issue, a problem. I don't have to complain. And bringing the issue or talking about the problem, if is it necessary? If it is, then I will bring it up. I won't have to complain about it. Or do I need to explain, or should I just educate? And if it's not necessary to educate, then there's no need to explain. Same thing for justification. If I want to make a suggestion, will this suggestion be needed, required, or called for at this moment? Ask permission before you give a suggestion. If they say no, guess what? Don't give it. And don't justify it. That's how you slowly, in a short period of time, get rid of the autopilot mode, become more conscious of who you are, and you will be surprised how quickly things in your lifestyle and business start to improve. The clients come to me, they're already financially successful, but they're unhappy. The first thing they notice when they're doing this exercise, and there's others in case this doesn't work, there are others. The first thing they notice is an improvement to their lifestyle. The second thing they notice is their wealth is increasing without any extra work. Wow, magic. Now, if this technique, you've tried it and it doesn't work, don't worry. It's like a doctor's bag. He has many tools, many techniques in his repertoire to help you, because everybody's different. If one tool doesn't work, one technique doesn't work, the good news is training your brain is hundreds of techniques, hundreds of tools. And if this doesn't particularly work for you, what I want you to do is, after the video, in a comment, tell me, Angelus, I tried this and it didn't really work for me. Fine. Or, Angelus, I want to know more about this. This is fantastic. I didn't know this. And I will give you a link to one of my private social media pages where it's kind of like a library. I have constant information updates on training your brain. I have tutorials, YouTube channel. This will help you to, and it's all free, but this will help you to comprehend what I'm talking about today, because no one video can really talk about the whole aspect of this complexity and this wonderfulness called you and your unconscious mind. It's beyond the scope of any one video, so I put them into other tutorials and on private sites. If you want to be part of our community for free and get access to this library of information, let me know in a comment and I'll get a link to you as soon as possible. With that, this is Angelus Perez. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Stay safe out there.